this family we started 6 years ago. In fact, on July the 7th, will mark 16 years since I loaded up our Ryder truck in Springfield, Missouri, and moved to Austin. And we had 10 families move down with us to start this church in the Barton Creek Mall at the movie theater there. And we were mothered by a church. I was on staff at a church called James River Assembly. I was the discipleship pastor. And our guest speaker this morning was the children's pastor. And we became dear, dear friends, and we had a lot of fun. In fact, sometimes we probably had too much fun. But our guest this morning, Jay Risner, has been in children's ministries almost 40 years. He's kind of the rare bird who is a grandpa doing kids ministry. But what I know about him is he really is a kid at heart, and he's a fantastic and incredibly talented individual, as you're going to come to find out, but has a wonderful heart for children. In addition to being a children's pastor, he is a missionary. In fact, not in addition, that's his primary calling. He is a children's missionary evangelist all around the world. He'll tell his story. He started in Africa, but he has been all around the world introducing children to Jesus Christ. And he has seen just under 500,000 children accept Jesus Christ as the leader of their life through his ministries. This year alone has been 30,000 kids already this year. So he's a fantastic individual and just a dear friend of mine. So I want you to join me in giving a big Southwest Family Fellowship welcome to my buddy, Jay Risner.
Well, good morning. How many of you are here? Okay, some of you are still waking up. That's good. That's good. Well, I've got to tell you, it is a true pleasure to be here with you. I got to tell you that when Anthony and the family decided to leave James River, I got to tell you, that was tough, because when you have friends you love, but it's been neat. I can call them every few years and, hey, what's going on? And it's like, time never slipped away. And you got a little bit more gray since last time I saw you, but you're doing good. And I could share some stories with you, but he would never speak to me again. And but I did notice, I didn't know how to take it with your congregation. When he said he was leaving on vacation, I didn't know if that big applause was, yes, he gets some rest, or yes, he's leaving. And anyway, it is great to be here today. You're going to get to find out a little bit about me, but I never get to find out a lot about the people I'm with, except at the very beginning of the service. And this is how I would like to do it. I would like for all of you to stand up for just a second. I won't make you go anywhere. And I want to find something out, and this is how I'm going to do it. If what I say pertains to you, then you'll sit down. Like if I say, sit down if you have purple eyes, then the person will sit down and everybody will turn and go, weird. Okay? So if what I say pertains to you, go ahead and sit down. And here we go. Sit down if anyone has ever told you that you snore. Oh, you got a whole family affair right over here. Look at this. Okay? All right. Sit down if you are wearing the same socks you had on yesterday. Okay, couple. All right, sit down if you had to look and see if they were yesterday's. All right, sit down if you've ever taken a piece of chewed gum and put it underneath a chair or a table or a pew. Yeah, got a couple in the back. Yes, we got. All right, sit down if you ever pulled one of those out. Sit down if you ever pulled one of those out and chewed it. Normally there's kids going, I still have it, okay? Now, stand up if you plan on having a great Sunday. All right, sit down if you should be on a diet. Sit down if the person next to you should be on a diet. Oh, somebody just got hit. Oh, my word. Counseling needs to start right now, Anthony. All right, sit down if you consider yourself good looking. All right, sit down if someone around you just lied. All right, and sit down if you love the Lord this morning. Give yourselves a hand. Good job. Hit it back there, Matt. Caught you at a bad time, didn't I? Turn that up. I can't hear it. Hey, would you join me and just put your hands together? Give me a little monitor. Can't hear it. It's moving time today when no one sits around. All go up together and then we'll go back down. The music just stopped and I have no idea where we are. But we're... Okay. You know what? Start it over again because I don't know where I'm at. Okay. I love that heavy beat, that, bass. Was that your idea, Anthony? I should tell you the time he tied a staff member's shoes together under the table, so when he got up, he fell. But I won't tell you about that. Put those hands together. You know what I'm going to sing. Old song. We changed the words. Moving time today when no one sits around. All go up together and then go back down. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. When you're only halfway up, you're neither up or down. Hey, turn to the person on your right. Shake their hand. Say, I'm glad you're here today. Just tell them that. Hi, I'm glad you're here today. Now turn to the person behind you. Say, I love you. A little bit more music. It's moving time today when no one sits around. All go up together and then go back down. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. When you're only halfway up, you're neither up or down. Now the words are very simple, and I want you to learn it so that you can sing it along with me. They go like this. It's moving time today when no one sits around. We'll all go up together, and then we'll go back down. And then from there, it's just a bunch of ups and downs. And I don't care how well you sing. What I care is that you sing. So kids, if your parents aren't singing, give them a little elbow, okay? Get your mom ready. Here we go. Join in. It's moving time. It's moving time today when no one sits around. All go up together and then we'll go back down. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. When you're only halfway up, you're neither. Well, not too bad. Not too good, though. Let's try it again. A little bit louder. Come on, join in. Here we go. It's moving time today when no one sits around. We'll all go up together and then we'll go back down. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. When you're only halfway up, you're neither up or down. Now, to you, wasn't bad at all. And we're going to do it one more time, except this time we're going to make a little change. This time when we sing the words up, I'd like for everyone to stand up. When we say the word down, everyone sit back down, but watch out for the word halfway, because it's not up, it's not down, it's kind of right there in the middle, okay? So if there's somebody around you and they're not doing this, help them. So everyone get ready, and here we go. It's moving time today when no one sits around. We'll all go up together and then we'll go back down. When you're up, you're up. That's right, that's the up word. That means you're up like this with your legs straight. Good. And then we'll go back down. And when you're only halfway up, you're neither up or down. You're getting the hang of it. I saw Anthony kind of get stuck in the halfway position there. We'll do it again. This time a little bit faster. Get ready, here we go. It's moving time today when no one sits around. We'll all go up together and then we'll go back down. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. When you're only halfway up, you're neither up or down. It's moving time today when no one sits around. We'll all go up together and then we'll go back down. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. When you're only halfway up, you're neither up or down. It's moving time today when no one sits around. We'll all go up together and then we'll go back down. When you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. When you're only halfway up, you're neither up or down. Give yourselves a hand. You guys did a great job. Woo! Who said do it again? No. Hey, listen, I just want to thank Matt and the sound people and everything for setting everything up, getting my mic working. I found out something cool about their system here, that if you dial on the back, if you say something and push a button, it'll say it back to you. Like if I go, hello, and then all of a sudden I find, which one is it? Oh, find the button right there. It'll say it back to me. And I can do different words. How are you? And you say the same thing. You push the button, and the same thing will happen again. It even does food. Cheese. I love cheese. I don't know if you guys do or not, but I love to push that. Now, it won't do bad words like, no, you're ugly. It does good things. I'm good looking.
No, you're ugly.
Hey, get that thing fixed, would you please? It doesn't feel good. Hey, Anthony, I know this is a church, but could I tell a poem about a skunk?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Little Johnny had a skunk, and even though his friends were few, everywhere that Johnny went, his friends would go, pee!
We don't do those things here.
It's part of my message today.
No.
It's what I want to talk about.
You'll just have to learn to do it like everybody else.
Well, at this church, they don't do things like everybody else.
You'll just have to learn.
Little Johnny had a... Little Johnny... Little Johnny had Well, the little boy went first day to school. He got some crayons and he started to draw. He put color all over his paper. All colors what he saw. And his teacher said to him,
What are you doing, young man?
Oh, I'm drawing flowers.
It's not the time for art, young man.
Oh, it's not?
Anyway,
Oh.
flowers are green and red.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a time for everything, young
Oh,
man.
yes, ma'am.
A way it should be done.
Oh, yes,
You've
ma'am.
got to show concern for everyone
Oh,
else.
I will.
For you're not the only one.
Well, I'm only 6.
Flowers are red, young man.
What?
And green leaves
Oh, no,
are
they're
green.
all different.
There's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen.
But there's so many colors in a rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone.
well, his teacher said, you're sassy. Now, there are ways things should be. Now, you'll paint flowers the way they are, so repeat after me. Flowers are red, young man. Green leaves are green. And there's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen.
But there's so many colors in a rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone.
The teacher then put him in the corner and said, it's for your own good. Now, you won't come out till you get it right and are responding like you should. Well, that little boy, he got scared, and frightening thoughts went into his head. So he walked up to his teacher, and this is what he said. He said,
Teacher, flowers are red, the green leaves are green, and there's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they're always seen.
Well, time went on, as it usually does, and that family moved to another town. The little boy went to another school, but this is what he found. With the teacher there, she was smiling. She said, painting should be fun, and there are so many colors in a flower. Let's use everyone. So that little boy started painting again, but this time in even rows of green and red. And when his teacher asked him why, this is what he said. He said, flowers are always red, and green leaves are green, and there's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen. But you know, with God's help, our kids should be able to sing.
There's so many colors in a rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone. There's so many colors in a rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone. We can stop it now. Thank you. So many colors in a rainbow. Do you realize there are so many colors in the words we say? But do you know our words, as the Bible says, can give life, or they can give death. I grew up with two very loving parents. I even remember their name, Jack and Jean Risner. And I've got to tell you, they were loving parents. They were disciplinarians. They will tell you, out of 4 kids, I'm the one that made my mom have white hair. She's 88 and still has everything about her. My dad died about 3 years ago. He was bald, and they said I caused that too. But I've got to tell you, as disciplinarian as they were, I never went without love. And my parents, I can't remember once ever hearing a derogatory word, a disrespectful word. They never called me stupid or dumb or an idiot. They knew what tough love was, and I knew what tough love was. My bottom still remembers what tough love was. But I've got to tell you, one thing I learned from my parents is that I was somebody. And I've got to tell you today, if you've ever been in a situation where you feel like your shell has been cracked and nobody knows, but there were things that were said or done that this day you still feel like your shell is cracked, I want to tell you, if you think you were born by accident and you've heard that, that's a lie. Because you see, God is the one who created you, and God does not make mistakes. God doesn't do things by accident. And I've got to tell you that you are important to God. He has a plan for you if you believe that. You're important to God, but you're also important to your family and your family of friends. And family of friends and parents and kids, the people around us, they need to hear that. You see, I've heard parents say, well, my kids know I love them. But they let words like, you go clean up your room. Don't play that music that loud. You don't take me anywhere, Dad. And words like that. But you know what? If we would learn to express the good things we see in our kids, in our friends, the people around us, if we'll learn to look for the best and not keep it in here, but give it from the lips, it will change this world. So right now is what I call family affirmation time. As I said, you're important to God, but you're important to your family and family and friends. And so this is what I want you to do. In just a second, I'm going to have you gather up with your family, your immediate family if they're here. If they're not, your family of friends. Don't leave anybody standing by themselves. Please look around, join them into your group. And I want you to finish this statement. The thing that I love most about you is, and then tell them. I've got 5 kids, Tanya, Shauna, Clayton, JJ, and Sadie. They're 38, 36, 34, 20, and 19. That's why I still work with kids. But I've got to tell you that if just JJ and Sadie and Debbie were here, we'd join in a circle, and I would turn to my wife, and I would say, Deb,
The thing that I love about you is that your love tank is service. You give to everybody. You want to make sure that they've got everything taken care of, your kids, myself. You're always doing for others. And I love that about you. And then all the kids would say something to her, and then I'd turn to Sadie, my 19-year-old, and I'd say, Sadie, the thing I love about you is how spontaneous, how zuni you are. I make those words up. And just, I love your weirdness of just loving life. And we all say something to her. But I want you to join up with your family of friends, go around and say, the thing that I love about you is. Now, listen, don't try to get out of this, because Pastor, am I right, you have the SWAT team out there? Yes, they're here, you can't escape. I want you to do this, you'll join up with your group, go around, and when you're finished, you can just sit down with them, and you'll know we'll continue when I start counting down, okay? So everybody stand up. Get with your family of friends, your family, immediate family, and finish. The thing that I love most about you is, and let them know. So do it now. I think you've lost your daughter. Okay, time's up. No, just kidding. Just kidding. You got more time. All right, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I want to get you out of here before 2 o'clock. Good job, Ari. One minute. 1 minute. Thirty seconds. $15 seconds. $5 seconds. All right. Hey, if you're not finished, you can do this together later. Hey, let me ask you, how many of you, it really felt good to have something said to you? How many of you, it really felt good to say something good to someone else? Yeah. Folks, that's part of our love tank. And some of you, we got to realize that people need that. And what you did today, don't make that a once-a-year tradition. But if you will make that a daily tradition, an hourly tradition, that you look for the best in other people, it's amazing. You know, the Bible talks about in the love chapter of not keeping records of wrongs. Well, let me take that and add to it. That means you should keep records of rights. And you know what? When we learn to share that with others, it makes a difference. People are drawn to that. The Bible says that our words have power to give life or to give death. The other thing that I realize Scripture talks about is, I put it in my own words, you put off a emotional and spiritual fragrance. In other words, people can smell what's coming from you. And I've got to tell you, as a kid, my dad would work outside, and there were times after he'd been out all day and working, he'd come in the house. It was kind of like, hey, Dad, I'll talk to you after you take a shower. Whoa. I mean, you could smell him before he got there. And then there are times, my wife, she loves vanilla perfume. All types of vanilla stuff. And I got to tell you, there's times she's walked out, and it's kind of like, oh, honey, let me just follow you for a little while. This is really good. It drew me in. And I've got to tell you that your words, your actions, your persona, what you're putting off, it either draws people to you or it chases them away. And just remember what you did today. If you will look for the best. Kids, look for the best in your parents. Parents, look for the best in your kids. Siblings, people you work with, people of other political beliefs, people of other race. If you will look for the best, it will make a difference. And I've got to tell you one other thing that happens. So many people have fried preacher for Sunday lunch. But you know what? If you will learn to support your pastors and the staff behind their backs and in front of other people, it'll make a difference in what people see in this church and how God sees you also. In fact, I'll tell you what, pastoral staff, if you're here, pastoral staff, your spouses, if you have any, would you stand up, please? Would you give them an applause to let them know how much you care for them today? Not too much, okay. But you know what? If you will support your pastors behind their backs in front of others, and I've got to tell you, if you ever get a chance, you probably don't sometimes know all the pressure they're under and the things that they're fighting even spiritually for you. And if you can drop them a letter, send the wife some roses, buy him a new car. No, I'm kidding about that. Buy him some boxing gloves. Okay, is that better? But you know what? Look for the best in others. It'll make a difference. Hey, let me tell you real quick about my family. As I said, you can bring up my family picture if you want. I've got 5 kids. JJ and Sadie, in the picture, they are my 20 and 19-year-old. Both of them say 21 and 20 because August is coming. And but I've got to tell you, we've been missionaries since 1990. We've been in children's ministries all our life, 39 years. Because I honestly believe that if you change a child, you can change a family. You can change a community. You can change the world. Where children's ministries is looked at as important overseas, it is exploding. Because when kids get saved, their lives get changed, parents begin to see the difference. You know, in America, and it'll blow you away, these statistics. In America, ages 5 to 12, 33% of the kids' population have a born-again relationship with Jesus Christ. 33%. Ages 5 to 12. Ages 13 to 19, our teens, only 4%. And ages 19 to adult, only 6%. Which basically says if you don't reach them when they're a child, the chance of reaching them gets so much more slim. And I've got to tell you, we believe in children's ministries. We had the privilege of being on staff at some churches, but I knew God was calling me to something bigger. And we accepted the call in 1990 to leave the States, pack up our 3 older kids, and move to Kenya. We were the director of children's ministries for all of East Africa, 19 countries. And one of the things that I saw in Africa, do you realize that the population of kids, 41% of the population is under 15 years of age? And everywhere I looked, I saw kids. And that's when I began to say, we can make a difference because kids can smell love. When you give them something they've never tasted, they're going to come. And I've got to tell you, I go into the schools. Here's a picture where I went in the schools. All the schools in Kenya and many of the countries, the kids have to be in uniform. They don't have enough money for shoes, but they'll be there. And now because education is free for Sikhs, Hindus, Muslims, for all of them, the schools are stretched. In fact, that's an up-close picture. Let me show you the far-away picture, the very same. Over 2,500 kids in this school. And I've got to tell you that I can go into any of those schools, and what I'll do, I'll go in and I'll begin to share the gospel through illusion and music and story and song and full-bodied costume characters. And I can give an altar call, as you see in this picture, kids just raising their hand, and when they're done, we make sure that they are ready to go to a church that is set up to get them to know Christ deeper, to disciple them. But I've got to tell you, to go into schools where Muslims, Sikhs, and Hindus are apart, I've got to tell you, I went into Bidi Elementary, did not even know my wife filmed what happened. But as I began to share about trusting in God and got to the end, there were some Muslim kids down in front. You can tell because they dress a little different with their head wraps. And I've got to tell you, as I said, how many of you will give Jesus Christ a chance in your life, knowing that He'll forgive whatever's been part of your past? And as I said that, I noticed that there were Muslim girls down in front with their arms crossed, just staring at me. And when I said, if you will give Jesus Christ a chance in your life, will you look up at me and just raise your hand? And everyone else had their head down, and these Muslim girls, they looked at each other, looked at me, and shook their head no. And then they looked at this girl standing next to them, which is this one. And when she looked at me, she dropped her hands, stepped forward, and this little Muslim girl gave her life to Jesus. There were other Muslims, there were other kids. That day, out of 3,000 kids, over 2,000 of them accepted Jesus Christ. We got them lined up where they would go to the churches and were ready. But that next Sunday, I talked to the headmaster. He was at Buddha Buddha Assembly, and he said, hey, that little girl that was in front of you, said she came back to school the next day and was beat up profusely. Said her parents found out, and they beat her and said, you will denounce what you've done, or we will beat you every day until we kill you. I went back to Bidi Primary School just 2 years ago. When I got done with the program, the headmaster and I began to talk, and I said, hey, whatever happened to that Muslim girl? He said, she is right next door in what we would call a middle school. He said, let me call for her. And when she came running over and she saw me, she ran faster. And her smile, and she wrapped her arms around me. And I said to her, how are you? And she said, oh, Mr. J, I'm still serving Jesus privately, but I'm serving Him with all my heart. I said, how do you get discipled? She says, oh, I watch your TV program every single week. And she said, plus, I come to the school on Sunday afternoon for a sports clinic. And they teach me more than just about sports. And I said, Lord, thank you. You see, it's going into places where they say there is no hope. But with God, everything's possible. God's opened the door for us to do television. This was past April. 4,000 kids at this kids camp. And over 3,000 got saved. Over 2,000 were filled with the Holy Spirit. But I got to tell you, go ahead. We go into many places. China, Mongolia, Japan. I go into places like Indonesia. In fact, I was talking with the girl who was playing the piano. She's there from there, and I just talked to her how I was just in Jakarta and Surabaya and Medan, and how I'm in Muslim schools. I'm in Buddha schools because I've got a character-based program that can't talk about God. But I believe you get your foot in the door any way you can, and then they're invited to the bigger crusade that we talk about God. I've got to tell you, one of the coolest things is our TV program. We started in '93. Today we reach over 20 million a week. Goes into 4 countries, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, and Burundi. And when we get emails and texts from Muslims, Sikhs, Hindus saying, we've given our life to Jesus Christ in the privacy of our home, I think, God, thank you that we can reach so many It's the fact that when I believe that when you say, God, I give you God, I give you my hands, I give you my feet. When you say, God, I give you whatever I have, God says, thank you. Now watch the miracle I will do through you. And I've got to tell you, we want to see every single kid around the world raise their hand and say, I want Jesus Christ in my life. And I ask you to pray for that. You know, this started for me, not only growing up in a Christian home, but at the age of 10, I came down with diabetes. I actually have been living on an insulin pump, got this back in 2000, and boy, does it make a difference, but it's connected to my stomach so that I get insulin. Without it, I would die. But I've got to tell you, at the age of 10, I was rushed to Cox Hospital in Springfield, Missouri, where my blood sugar, which should be 90 to 120, was over 800. Between 700 and 800. And I should have never heard the doctor say to the other doctor, we don't know if he's going to make it. They came in, they gave me an orange and a needle. They said, stick that orange with the needle. And I said, why? And they said, because you'll be sticking your stomach with a needle. How many of you know that sticking an orange and sticking your belly is two different things? Yes. One day I did that and I left the needle hanging out in my stomach and I walked up to Anthony and I said, hey, can you pull this out? And didn't know that he is very leery of stuff like that, and he about passed out at church. That was really cool that day. But I've got to tell you, here I am in the hospital and I don't know if I'm going to live or die. And my mom and dad walked in and they said, here's a box, we brought you something to play with. And when I opened up that box, what I pulled out was this exact thing. I brought out a Danny O'Day ventriloquist doll. And I got to tell you, back then, he actually had arms. He has the string that comes out the back of his neck, and I knew that plastic hair and plastic head, but I knew that if you would pull the string, his mouth would open. And I sat there with him and I said, Mom, Dad, thank you. And they left and I grabbed him and said, oh, I know how to do this. Okay, hello, hello. Pull the string. Hello, hello. Okay, change your voice, don't move your lips. Hello.
Hello.
No, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
That's good.
Really?
Yeah, really. Okay. And so we just began to talk.
We did?
Yes, we did. And after a couple days, this is all I could think about. And a lady chaplain walked into my room, Dorothy Johns, and she said, well, hello, Jay. And I said, hello, Miss Johns. She said, who's that laying on your bed? And I said, oh, that's Charlie. She said, well, hello, Charlie.
Hello, lady.
How are you?
I'm good.
And all of a sudden, they began to talk. And when we got done, she looked at me and said, hey, Jay, when you get out of the hospital, I want you to come to the church, and I want you to do something for the kids at Central Assembly. And then I'm a principal at a school, and I want you to come and do a program at school because you're good. And I said, lady, Miss Johns, I don't know if I'll get out of the hospital. And she looked at me and said, oh, yes, you will. God has a plan for you. And if you'll just give it to Him, He'll use you, Jay. 3 weeks later, I got out and I went to that school. I went to the church. And then that opened the door for me to start doing other schools. And then as I got older, I knew that I wanted to use it. And I began to do stuff all through Michigan. And then I got to go on television in Los Angeles. I moved to LA at the age of 18. What we call America's Got Talent, they had a show a long time ago called The Gong Show. I was on that. And I thank you. We'll talk about that. And I've got to tell you, the door opened. But I've got to tell you, I knew God had called me to the ministry. And I think about the door that opened for me to go into professional entertainment for 4 years and then to say, God, I know what you've called me to. And the fact that we have been in 46 countries around the world. We've seen just under 500,000 kids to come to know Jesus Christ. And I think about how it's touched our family. And I've got to tell you, it's all because I believe that as a kid, I said, God, I give you my hands, I give you my feet, I give you whatever I have. I've got to tell you that as we travel the world, we want to help people spiritually. And
Don't put me away.
just be quiet.
Don't talk.
No, please be quiet.
I want to talk.
No, I am. That's no. He interrupts all the time. But I've got to tell you, as we travel the world, we help kids spiritually and people spiritually, but also physically. And one of the biggest things, and I've got to share this with you very quickly, is the fact that in Africa, we are seeing groves of kids come to know Jesus Christ. They're trained at the churches, but the problem is they have a church building, but nowhere for the kids to meet. And when it's hot, it gets so hot in places that the kids pass out. They get underneath a thorn bush. They go anywhere they can. Or if it rains, they can't meet. And we said, God, open a door that we can help build children's church structures to make a difference throughout Africa. Let me show you this minute and 43-second video and let it touch your heart. There are so many great things to see in Africa, but there is one sight you will always see, no matter what time of year or season, and that's Africa's children. Children, children. Everywhere you look, you see children. 41% of the population is 14 and under. 490 million children. I've heard it said that children are the church of tomorrow. But can I tell you, they're not just the church of tomorrow. They're church of today. I walk the streets and I see kids everywhere that are left out. They're not involved in church. I believe that we can change the life of every African child. And how are we going to do it? Now is the time for empowering and planting a children's church structure in every church that is ready. I love the fact that there are thousands of churches going up across Africa, but there is something that is missing, and it's a place for the children to meet. And that's why it is so important that we build children's church structures, a place that they can call their own, a place where they can be ministered to and discipled. All across Africa, you will see that there are churches that have begun to do this, and they find out that when they build a structure, the children come. And that's why we've got to have children's church structures. We are asking for $2,000 per structure. Now, in some countries, that amount will build 2 structures. These churches are desperate for a place to put their children. They're in desperate need of a children's church structure. Thanks again for letting me share about one of the greatest opportunities, and that's reaching the children of Africa. It has to happen. Africa's children now. Would you pray for the children of this world and the children of Africa, and pray for us as we want to build in this next year. We want to build 150 of these right now. They could have 5,000 of them, but put them in your prayers. You know, I go back to this. Whatever you give to God, if you say, I give it to you, He can make miracles. I wish I could show you Jojo, my vent figure that I've had since I was 16. But he's back at the camp where I'm getting ready to start speaking tomorrow. And I thought, what could I do? Pastor Roger, could you come up here, please? Right up here with me. No, I'll tell you what, I think it would be fun to sit under your ministry. I'd be loving Jesus and laughing at the same time. You know what? Can I have your glasses?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm scared.
And I tell you what, I saw your wife here today, Julie. Hi, Julie. And you know what? We're just talking, and she said, is there any way you could give my husband a makeover? So, Julie, I'm going to answer what you said, okay? I brought, we're gonna give you a makeover. And that's right, you can't see anything. Now, you will not speak. I will do all the talking for you, but you're taking my dummy's place.
Oh, thank you.
And your wife said you'd fit right in. Okay. So make sure that's on.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, this really looks good.
Oh.
I love this.
Well, I know you do.
Oh, nah, this is classic.
I know it is. Well, listen, really, if you're embarrassed,
No, I want to do it.
no, you can sit down if you want.
No, I want to do it.
Okay, that's fine.
I want to stay up here.
Why?
Because I can see Julie. Ooh. Hey, honey. You want to kiss these lips? Oh, here, let me fix it. Don't touch it. Oh, sorry. Well, how you feeling? Not too good. What's wrong? My stomach hurts. Your stomach hurts? Yeah, it's got something in it I don't like. What's that? Your hand. Oh. Oh. Well, listen, there's a lot of people here. Yeah, pastor's here too. Yeah, pastor's over there. Now, really, you don't have to stay up here. I need to. Why? I got to get used to it. Why do you have to get used to it? Well, pastor's going to Yellowstone. Yeah. I'm becoming the new pastor. Oh. Does he know this? Yet, I'm telling him right now. And you know what I like? What? His daughters are applauding. Yes. Oh. Oh. Well, listen, you've been under his ministry. Oh, yeah. And, has he taught you many things? Oh, a lot of things. What's one of the first things he's taught you? He taught me how to make money. How to make money? Yeah, to build a budget. Make money to build a budget. How do you do that? Got to know how to count. Got to know how to count. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. No, let me start over. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. 5, 6, 7. Yeah. 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Ace, king, queen, jack. Jackpot! No, hold it. That's how we build the church budget. Oh, jackpot. Okay, that's good. Has he taught you how to do anything else? Yeah. What? How to be kind. How to be kind. Especially to Julie. Especially to Julie? Yeah. What happens if you're not kind to her? She hits me. She hits you? Yeah, look at the side of my head. Oh man, you got a big old whelp there. What happened? I said something that made her mad. Yeah. She threw tomatoes at me. Tomatoes? Yeah. You're telling me that tomatoes made that whelp? Yeah, they are still in the can. Oh. Well, listen, is there anything else that pastors taught you? Yeah, he taught me how to dance and sing. Pastor taught you how to dance and sing? Oh, yeah. In fact, I want to do it today. Oh, no, this is church. I don't care. No, hold it. Well, listen, since I'm talking about a missionary and being part of God's family, I love sharing Jesus all over the world. Yeah. And in fact, I'd like to sing about it. Can I help you? Yeah, you can help me. Hit it, Matt. Go ahead. Today. Yeah, good. Can you turn it up a little bit? Yeah, I need it too. Okay, thanks. You gonna sing? Yeah. Today? Yeah. When I was a young child, oh yeah, Christ came into my life. He took away your darkness, oh yeah, and gave you His pure light. That's why I want to go tell it on the mountain. Oh yeah, over the hills, everywhere you gotta go, go, go. Tell it everywhere that Jesus Christ is Lord. I'll take it from here. Oh, okay. Now as you work for Jesus, oh yeah, to share His gospel light, He'll guide you with His Spirit and through His holy night. You gotta go, 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 go tell it on the mountain. Ah yeah, down your street, at your school. You gotta go, 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 go tell it everywhere that Jesus Christ is Lord. You gotta go, 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 go tell it everywhere now, down your street, at your work. You gotta go, 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 go tell it everywhere that Jesus Christ is Lord. You gotta tell it, tell it, tell it, tell it everywhere now, at your work, at your school. You gotta tell it, tell it, tell it, tell it everywhere that Jesus Christ is Lord. That Jesus Christ is Lord, 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 Lord. You gotta tell it, yeah! Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, brother. Oh my gosh.
And that is no rehearsal. I've got to tell you that.
Nicely done.
You are great on the spot, man. Go tell it on the mountain. Well, you know what? I want to share with you just a little bit more about why it's so important not only to be a part of God's family, but to understand that when you're part of a family and your own family, spending time with that family is very, very important.
A child arrived just the other day.
Hi, Daddy.
He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say,
I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know, I'm gonna be like you.
and the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy, little man on the moon.
When you coming home, Dad?
Don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said,
Thanks for the ball, Dad. Come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw?
not today, I got a lot to do. He said,
That's okay.
he walked away, but his smile never dimmed and said,
I'm gonna be like him. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna be like him. I love you, Dad.
and the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy, little man on the moon.
Oh, when you coming home, Dad?
Don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then.
I'd run away from home, but I can't cross the street alone.
Well, he came from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head and he said with a smile,
What I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later. Can I have them, please? Come on, dude, hurry up.
Cat's in the cradle and
Come
the
on.
silver spoon, little boy,
Thanks.
little man on the moon. When you coming home, son,
I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. Ciao, baby.
I've long since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just
Hello?
the other day.
Oh, hi, Dad.
I said I'd like to see you
Uh-huh.
if you don't mind. He said
I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, the new job's a hassle and the kids got the flu, but it's good talking to you, Dad. Yeah, it's good talking. Hey, Dad, I'm busy. I'll talk to you sometime later. Bye-bye.
And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me.
What do you want, son? No. Go get your mom to do it. I'm busy. Get mom to do it. What do you want? Get your mom. She doesn't do anything. Now go. Shut the door. Shut the door. I'm busy. I want to be like you, Mom. I want to be like you, Dad. It's something that you hear kids say all the time. You know, a national magazine asked parents to be graded. They asked kids to grade their parents. And you know what got the highest grade? It wasn't my mom and dad spent $100 and bought me this, or mom and dad bought me that. The thing that got the highest grade throughout our country was, I love it when my parents spend time with me. Time. You see, we can take time and we can make time. But the time we spend is so important. I've got to tell you that teenagers, they push the boundaries. And as they grow, but I've got to tell you, as I grew, my mom and dad had spent time with me. And even, when I turned 16, something magical happened. I knew everything. And my dad didn't even know how to chew his food right, but I told him how. But I got to tell you, my mom and dad, until the day my dad died, was someone that I could spend time with because he had grown and built a relationship with me. And I've got to tell you that kids, we need to honor our parents. May not agree with everything they do, but you honor them, and still as you grow to stay in touch with them, we need to honor them. In America, we have Father's Day and Mother's Day, one day to honor parents. You realize in America, you honor pickles for a whole week. What a comparison. But I'll tell you what, spending time, I know it's difficult. NBC talked to 100 dads throughout the United States years ago and said, how much time do you spend in quality time with your kids? Not just sitting in the same room, not just watching a TV show with your kids sitting next to you, but eye to eye, contact, talking with them, not just but true communication. And the average dad came up with 100, if I remember correctly, 123 minutes, an hour and 23 minutes a day. For 24 hours, they taped everything that went on in that home. All these families, and when they put all the information together over what happened in a month, the average time that a dad spent with his kids was 47 seconds a day of true quality time. But we live in a world today, and I'm part of it too. I can walk into a restaurant, and it happens at my table too. You look at the parents and the kids, and they all have their phone, and they're not ever saying a word because of what we have visually in front of us. I heard a poem that talked about the television and talked about the visual, what we see, and it was so true. On the table, side by side, was the Holy Bible and the remote TV guide. One is well-worn and cherished with pride, but it wasn't the Bible, it was the remote TV guide. One is used daily to help folks decide, but it wasn't the Bible, it was a TV guide. Well, as they look around and as they look, they can't all agree what they should watch on the TV. So they turn to the thing on which they rely. No, it wasn't the Bible. It was the remote TV guide. And there are nights for everything nowadays. There are bowling nights, bridging nights, nights on the town, nights for the circus and Bozo the Clown, nights to stay home and to catch all the sights, MMA, boxing, the fights. And then there's a night to be all alone, to be by myself and let my hair down. But the time for our families, they get lost in the rush, postpone it, ignore it. Who needs all that mush? Well, they do, and you do. We all do, Your family is really the seed that you sow. So use it, or you will lose it off of the shelf. Remember, it won't take care of itself. I've come to realize that 15 years from now, it's not going to matter whether I get a promotion as a missionary. It's not going to matter whether Debbie serves cheese on the cauliflower or whether I've got a night out with all the other friends. But it will matter the time that I take and the time that I make to call, to spend with my kids. Because I got to tell you, it starts early. And when you look at little kids, when they're just starting to grow, if you could look into their mind, if you could look into kids' subconscious, what would they be saying? They would be saying, I am your child. Wherever you go, you take me to. Whatever I know, I learn from you. Whatever I am, you taught me to do. I am your chance. I am your child. Whatever will come from thee. Tomorrow is won by winning little ones like me. Whatever I am, you taught me to be. He is your chance. He is your hope. Yes, He is the child. God, teach us on how to treat kids, how to raise them, and how to treat others around us the way you would. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, buddy. How many of you have ever been to a circus? You know, one of my favorite things at a circus is what you call a tightrope walker. Someone who walks across a wire or a rope stretched between two poles or towers. And one day, someone challenged the greatest tightrope walker of all, the great Blondin, to come from France and to walk across a wire stretched over the Niagara Falls. And he accepted the challenge. And on the day that it was supposed to happen, thousands of people lined the American side and the Canadian side as they stared up at two towers with a wire stretched over it, 167 feet above the edge of the falls and 289 feet above the crashing foam below. And at 2 o'clock on that scheduled day, the great Blondin stepped out and he yelled out, "How many of you believe that I can walk across this wire? If you believe I can do it, wave your hands. Wave your hands." So everyone waved. So he quieted them down, picked up the balance pole, tested the line, and started across. And as he got to the other side, people yelled and cheered. And he quieted them down and he said back to them, "How many of you believe that I can go back across this wire, this time pushing a wheelbarrow? If you believe I can do it, wave your hands. Wave your hands." And they all waved. So he put the wheelbarrow on the line, got set, and started across. And when he got to the other side, people yelled and cheered. And he quieted them down and he said back to them, "How many of you believe I can go back across, this time pushing a wheelbarrow, but with someone in that wheelbarrow? If you believe I can do it, wave your hands, wave your hands." And they all waved. So he quieted them down and he said back to them, "All right, if you really believe I can do it, then someone come and get in the wheelbarrow." And you know, in real life, not one person moved. Why? Were they scared? Were they frightened? Could be, but they said they believed. There's a big difference between saying you believe in something and putting it into action. You see, it says that even the demons believe in Jesus, but they tremble. What's the difference? It's a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. With the Blondin, they would have had to put their life on the line, put their life in His hands. You know, there are people who go to church. They may have read the Bible. They go to church and they say, "Oh, I believe." But the difference is whether you have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. We can reach out for many things in life and think we have life, but it can crumble. But when you put your life in His wheelbarrow, in His hands, He will never let you fall. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, and always acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Trust Him today. Let's pray. God, I thank you. I thank you for this time. Lord, I thank you that it's not just our immediate family. It's not just those here, but it's our relationship with you that really must start. And God, I just pray this morning that if there are people here that feel like they don't have a Heavenly Father, there may be some here that everything they've reached for was a high today, but it's a low tomorrow. Everything they reach for seems to crumble in their hand. God, I pray that if they've never given you a chance, that today they'll say, God, I do want to be adopted into your family. I want to know that I have the consistency of you in my life every day. God, there are some that they feel like every time they get on the high wire, they fall. But God, you will never let us fall. I pray that they'll give their life to you right where they're at. While your heads are bowed, your eyes are closed, I'm going to do this pretty quick, but if you're here, and maybe you've come to church, you've read the Bible, you've prayed, that doesn't make you part of God's family. What makes you part of God's family is a personal relationship with Him. And if you're here and you realize He really doesn't live in your life, today your life can be changed forever. And I'm not here to embarrass you, but if you realize that you do not have a relationship with Him and you need that today, then what I want you to do is just look up at me, let our eyes meet, just let me see your hand. And once I nod to you, you can put your head and hand and your hand back down. But if you need Him in your life because you don't have Him, maybe you are serving Him, you got away from Him, and you're saying, I need to come back home. If that's you, just look at me and put a hand up where I can see it. We had people in the first service that did this. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, guys, I see you in the back. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. I see your hand. Thank you. Yes. Anybody else? You realize, hey, guys, this is not a sign. Yes, ma'am. This is not a sign of weakness. This is a sign of wisdom, of letting God be in charge. Anybody else, real quick? I'll tell you what I want you to do, right where you guys are sitting. I'm going to ask you to say a prayer with me. You that looked up, and maybe some of you that should have, but you really need Christ in your life. You need a change. I'm going to say a prayer, and I want you to repeat it, and I want you to mean it. And Christians that are sitting there, would you say it also to give them confidence as they say it? So all of you, say this with me. Dear God, I thank you for your love. I thank you that you care for me. I ask you to forgive me of everything I've done wrong. Forgive me of my sin. Forgive me of my past. Forgive me of my wrong choices. And I ask Jesus to come into my life, to be my best friend, to guide me and direct me, to show me the right way to live. I trust you, Jesus, and I give you my life. Thank you, God. You have forgiven me. You have washed me clean, and I am your child. In Jesus' name.